Hello and welcome to the Free Outside Show. Thank you for being here. If you haven't, subscribe to the podcast. That's on every platform podcasts live, because I just go through all the work to put it everywhere. Anyways, this is the final episode in our Cocodona recaps. I've tried to hit different places in the field, different people, different successes, people hitting their goals, people not hitting their goals, just to kind of show what happens out there, especially since the intrigue has grown with Cocodona, and I think we only get a few stories in long form every year. So I've gone through the process of coming up with more stories. So we shared my story, we shared Kevin Russ's story, shared Jenny Chisholm's story, we shared Aaron Fleischer's journey, we shared Corey Woltering's journey. I'm actually not counting, I'm just putting up fingers. And today we share Allison Powell's journey. So we've covered as much of the field as really I can commit. I have a bunch of travel starting on Tuesday, so I'm like scheduling out episodes frantically. But we're going to dive deep into Cocodona. Allison is a coach and also had a race plan that involved movies, which is very unique, kind of fun, and we get into that. So she assigned movies to different sections with different playlists and stuff, and I thought it was a really fun way to break up the race. So I've done this with FKTs where you say, like, at this resupply point, you know, it's like the end of a section, so you have things to look forward to and break it up. And when I coach athletes, that's kind of what I say, especially for 200s or even hundreds and FKTs and stuff, is you have to break up those bigger milestones into something more concrete and smaller, especially for the unsupported style, which I'm coaching like 4 people doing unsupported big FKTs this year, and we talk about breaking it up that way. So that is what we're getting into today. If you want to check out, I put out a Substack every week or two, usually about a scientific topic. I would say that's where I dive in the most and offer a little insight into the things I pick up and apply to coaching in my own athletics. I did one on heat training and the history of it, and how anyone claiming to be a pioneer of it today is not a pioneer, because it's been around for a very long time, going back to old mining days. Actually, it's a pretty interesting read. So that's freeoutside.substack.com. And if you want to support this podcast and more trail TMZ talk in the future, you can join the Patreon, patreon.com/freeoutside, I believe is the Patreon. So that keeps the lights on and things going. And the other way you can support is we have sponsors. So Janji, JANJI.com, premium sun shirts, premium shorts. I even wear a visor there because I'm in the visor mode of my life where I'm in my mid-30s. So check them out. I wouldn't promote them. Even Allison wore one for the Cocodona 250, as my parents call it, the Cocodona. So check them out. Also Garage Grown Gear. That's where I'm getting a lot of stuff for my Appalachian Trail FKT attempt coming in August. So they're where you can outfit your stuff for anything from ultra running to fast packing to backpacking. All right, let's get into the episode. Oh yeah, I got to clarify something from last week or last Friday. So I had a really good episode. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. 5-star reviews, welcome, and subscribe. But I asked a question. A lot of people reached out. Is Aravaipa still your favorite race organization? And yeah, I think Scott Traer and Aravaipa Running both handled the situation well, considering what they were dealing with and knowing all parties involved. I think everything worked out how it was supposed to, and it's only 3 months removed, a little over 3 months removed from Black Canyon, that still plenty of time to fall upon the right decision, and that's what they did. So I think it was handled well. I think sometimes in today's world, we rush to want people to make decisions and do things like immediately, where I think it's okay to make a decision and then later decide that wasn't the right decision and change your decision. So I am proud of all that. I think it happened, fairly decent way, and the right outcome happened. And so I applaud that. And I think we need to applaud people and organizations more when they make decisions and do things correctly that are difficult. And this was inherently difficult because everyone knew everyone involved, and it's hard to get and decide on a disqualification. So I think we just need to applaud that more. And the fact that it took 3.5 months for that to happen, I don't think is that relevant, because the right decision was reached. And as I always say, fast and wrong is still fast. But you know what? Fast and wrong is also still wrong. All right, let's get into the episode. This is Allison Powell. All right, so what was your race plan?
My race plan was to go out towards the front, but not try to keep up with like the very front pack. I wanted to go out and stay fairly conservative on day one because I figured there would be a lot of carnage eventually, and just kind of like stay on my own timeline, my own plan. I was hoping to do about 70 hours, and so I had my own spreadsheet with times and everything to get into aid stations. But then my other race plan, of course, was like all the themed sections with all the fun movie stuff and soundtracks and costumes. So I had like 2 race plans going at once.
Wow. Okay. So at the beginning, what is your costume? At the same time that you're planning to go out conservative, what's your movie?
The very first 7 miles were Galaxy Quest because I just wanted to have fun and just think about like never give up, never surrender, but also just have a good time. And then from there into Whiskey Row, the theme was all meant to be Dune because I thought it would be really hot and really sandy and deserty. And I talked a lot with my sports psychologist and my coach about like staying really humble in that section, like not worrying too much if people are passing me or trying to pass people myself, just really staying focused in on like my own time goals and my own plan of like, I just want to see what I'm capable of. I want to make myself proud, and having that be the goal, not like,
okay,
where am I?
That was the plan. What actually happened? So from the beginning.
So after the second water stop, whatever that's called.
Okay, we're like 20 miles in.
Yeah. On that climb up, heading towards Lane Mountain, is when I started getting hailed on. And I wanted to get out my phone really quick because I was like, this is so unusual and amazing. Like, I'm getting hailed on at Cocodona. How unusual. I've got to hurry and take my phone out. And then it hailed for like 10 or 15 minutes. And I was like, okay, I didn't need to be rushing to do that. And so I got soaking wet, then it turned to rain. The sun was coming out by the time I got to Lane Mountain, but it was not a very warm day. It was not giving a lot of Dune vibes.
Yeah, I mean, it feels maybe like Galaxy Quest. So for context, you had different movies for multiple sections throughout the whole race.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Galaxy Quest might have worked because hail and don't give up type thing. But then Dune would have been like Dune if it went through a monsoon.
Yeah, it was no longer relevant. But, you know, Kevin Goldberg, who interviewed me on the Distance to Empty podcast to talk about that, we'll was asking...
We'll cut that part out, yeah. No free ads.
Okay, well... He was asking me, like, what theme are we in, what section, and I was like, well, it was supposed to be this, but it's not really feeling that way.
Did you link up with runners at the beginning, or run with anyone, or were you just on your own through Crown King?
I came and went through, like, different packs of people on the way to Crown King. I didn't stay with anybody in particular. I wasn't in a really chatty mood at that point. So I didn't really stick with anyone. And so when the hail came in, I was totally alone. Like, there was nobody that I could see in front of me or behind me. I was just like lost in a cloud of rain.
Do you know where you're at compared to everyone? Are you looking at the time and where you think you'll hit Crown King? You're not worried about anything? No,
I didn't want to be too worried about that. Like, I had a time goal that I thought would be cool to aim for, but I really wanted to focus the whole race to just be like, what am I capable of, and am I proud of the effort that I'm making? So a lot of that first day heading into Crown King, I was just asking myself, like, am I proud of this pace that I'm making, and am I having fun? And those were the only 2 questions I was asking myself. So I didn't look at the time at all. I didn't pull out the tracker or the map or anything. I was just like moving on my own terms.
And you did? You were having fun?
I was having fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then Crown King happens.
And then, got into Crown King, left there feeling really good, had a quick turnaround. My crew and pacers were really dialed, and just got back out, chatted to Bryce a little bit, who was filming for the live stream. And then I really didn't know where I didn't know and didn't want to know where I was in the field. And I even told my crew, like, that's not why we're out here. I don't care where I am, who's in front of me, who's behind me. Like, it doesn't matter. So don't tell me that. If I ever want to know for some reason, I'll ask, but I don't want to come into an aid station and be told, like, there's this many people ahead of you or this many women or whatever. But I was, like, hiking up that gravel road out of Crown King, and there was a really nice old man sitting in his front yard, and he goes, wow, you're the 5th woman I've seen. And I was like, well, okay, now I guess I know that for this day. Thanks for letting me know. So hiked on beyond him, and then that stretch going into Prescott, I hooked up with Sarah Ostaszewski and ran. Is that how you say her name? Close enough.
Very close enough.
Close enough. Sorry, Sarah.
They would count it. Close enough.
But she and I ran several miles together and had a really good time just chatting about things not solely related to running, like some travel plans she has over the summer. And I was like, oh, I've been to that area. Here's like what I would recommend or check out. So that was really cool. And was with her pretty much up until I saw you heading into Camp Kippa.
Nice. Did you have a lot of mud going up Mount Union and stuff too?
Some mud. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't a ton. It wasn't anything compared to what we would have later. So it was like navigable mud.
Yeah, and it was Dune all the way to Whiskey Row.
It was Dune all the way to Whiskey Row, yeah.
So how much are you letting this play into your race? Are you like playing Dune music in your headphones and stuff?
I didn't play any music on that section, but I did have a Dune playlist if I wanted to turn it on. I had it ready to go. But I really was in the mindset of like staying really humble and connecting with that humility aspect. That was like our main theme through that section. Because it's such a long race. Like, there's no reason to be stressed about, okay, I'm the 5th woman you've seen. Like, I've got to move up the field. I've got to be going super fast. Like, other women caught up to me or passed me, or I passed them. And it was just like, hey, how you doing? What do you need? How are you feeling? I got more chatty on that section. So that was the main part of the Dune thing that I really clicked into.
Yeah, I've never seen Dune. Is that a humble movie?
No.
Movie of humility?
No, not at all. If you read more into the book series, like the main character becomes like a huge tyrant and just doesn't destroy the universe, perfect. But like kind of does. Yeah, but the indigenous people on the planet, the Fremen, are pretty humble. And we
are these the worms?
Yeah, the worms. I actually just wanted to be the worm the whole time. I just wanted to come out from underground in Flagstaff and swallow the finish line.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't really know anything about this series or any movies. And so, okay, we get to Whiskey Row, and then that's like when the whole race changes because you get to start having pacers, and usually it's nighttime and stuff. What's the movie there, and what's the plan from there?
So it switched to being Game of Thrones for the next section theme, and it had started raining some again as I came into Whiskey Row, and I was a little cold and wet.
Yeah,
and
winter's coming.
Yeah, winter is coming.
Never seen that show either, but
should have thought about that. I taped up my toe, of course, my left pinky toe, classic always, in Whiskey Row, and the medic was like, hey, it's getting kind of cold out, you should put on pants. And I was like, nah, I was warm coming into here, like I'm always warm, it's fine. It was not fine.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, winter.
I know.
Winter's coming.
But I sat out with Chad, we had a good time chatting, he'd seen the show, so all of the theme sections, it always gave my pacer and I something to chat about, which was nice. Like, if you run out of topics because it's been hours and hours, you could at least be like, well, what's your favorite episode of Game of Thrones? It's like, okay, great. Now we have something to discuss.
So did you make your pacers not only have like a crew document and a spreadsheet, but also watch all million seasons of Game of Thrones, all the Dune stuff?
No. Most of them had already seen all of it or all of the different themes, except most of them had never seen Mad Max Fury Road, and that is basically tied / my second favorite movie of all time. And I was like, we're having a movie night. We've got to watch this movie. It's so good. So I did host a movie night for that. But I provided dinner.
You had a lot of pacer home.
But, they loved it. They were into it.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so Game of Thrones begins.
Yep.
And then, so does that go through the night and take you to Iron King and Fane Ranch?
Yeah, Game of Thrones, I think, lasted all the way to Dead Horse was the plan.
Wow, so over Mingus, too.
Yeah,
so that's like 100-mile theme.
Well, Dune was almost 60-some miles. They were all pretty long sections. I didn't want to change it up every aid station. That was going to be too much. Yeah.
Galaxy Quest. And then...
No, just the first 7. Just till that first
7.
Just 7. Just the start line.
Your favorite movie only got 7 miles.
Well, we can try again later. We can do a different time.
Wow, only 1 hour, so you only had like 10 songs. Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, I did play the theme song from Galaxy Quest in the RV before walking to the start line. That was fun.
Okay. All right, so you're in the midst of Game of Thrones, and this is when everyone realized the course was a huge mess. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was really raining, muddy, cold, and the dells were really interesting with all the rock being wet. And then once we hit kind of like that roadish trail section heading in towards Iron King, those bridges that you run across that have like the metal plates on them, they had water underneath, so you'd step on that and it would like spray water to me up to like my chest or my face almost sometimes. So that was really interesting. We got through Iron King, and then
Is it dark still?
It's still dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sun didn't start coming up till we were pretty close to Fane Ranch, but it was starting to get really muddy, and it was turning into that, like, is there even, like, a clean line to run through or navigate through? Like, where are the tufts of grass to stand on? How do we get through this? How do we manage? Usually I don't love running on road, but it was nice to have that little road and sidewalk section and just, like, bang out your shoes and try to get all the mud off.
Yeah, and shoes weighed like 2 pounds extra each.
Yeah.
It was miserable.
Yeah.
Okay, Fane Ranch, and you still haven't slept. Do you have a sleep plan?
The plan was to sleep at Fane Ranch for about 30 or 40 minutes, and I had made a really big deal at our crew and team meeting that I did not want to sleep very much, and I should not dirt nap at all, and I should only sleep one time, and I'm fine with sleep deprivation, and let's do that as the plan, which obviously completely fell apart, as we will get to. But I was supposed to sleep at Fane Ranch for about 30 minutes, and I went in our crew vehicle to sleep, and I was still wearing the John G. Sunchaser hoodie that I'd been wearing the whole time, and I laid down and I was just like shivering so much. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't get comfortable, but I was trying to like talk my way out of it or talk myself into sleeping and just like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like, it's fine. Just like talk yourself in this blanket. Just like go to sleep, go to sleep.
Where were you sleeping?
I was sleeping on like the couch in Dan and
RV.
Rosa's RV. Yeah, so they hadn't set it up fully as a bed, so I couldn't lay fully down on it. And I should have and could have gotten up and just said like, guys, this is not working. I need a bed. I need to change clothes. I need to eat warm food. But I didn't do that. I just thought, I'm strong and capable and this will be fine and I can get through it. And that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So Brendan and I left then from Mingus.
Did you sleep at all?
Maybe like 5 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes at most, I would say. But I don't feel like I really slept at all.
So you took off across
more mud. We may have seen you way in the distance, because I heard you came in and left while I was still sleeping. And it really wasn't too bad, because I did that section with you last year, and it's pretty much... I felt like it was not that much slower with all the mud.
They flagged it really good this year.
Yeah, and it seemed like there was more of an actual trail, too. Like,
yeah, because all the mud.
Yeah, it was easier to navigate.
Yeah.
But we were having a good time. We were chatting. I was still in shorts, and we hit the road, and we started then hiking, like making the ascent up Mingus. And I had eaten, I thought, everything in my pack. And I was like, dang, I'm really hungry. I thought I'd packed more food for this section. And then just all of a sudden it was like looking at the ground through the wrong end of binoculars is like the way I've been describing it. That's not totally accurate, but it's like the best way I can think of. It was just like the world got really far away, and I felt super weird. And so I just looked up at Brendan, and I just said, something's really wrong, and I don't know what it is, but something is not right. Something does not feel right. And we called my coach like right away, and it was pretty early in the morning, so props to him for picking up. And I was like, I don't know. I've been eating pretty well. I feel like my salt intake has been good. My water intake has been good, but maybe something's off with hydration or sodium or something. I don't know. And he was like, yeah, those seem like probably the likely candidates. Let's just like keep hiking, keep trying some different things related to hydration, and like let me know how that goes. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty manageable getting into Mingus. It was definitely slower than I wanted to be, and I was just already feeling just like really woozy, really weird. And then I was feeling tired, but I was like, well, that makes sense. I didn't really sleep at Fain Ranch. But normally I feel like I'll just be like, oh, I'm tired. Sleeping would be nice. And this was like my brain, like any available rock or log or area that I could have laid down, my brain was like, you should lay down there. You should lay down there right now. You should go sleep right there, right immediately. And that I've also never dealt with. I'm usually like, whatever, I'm tired. I'll just keep going. So when we got into Mingus, it was the same thing, like shivering a bunch, super cold, trying to eat, like trying to drink soup, and it was just like sloshing everywhere. Like I couldn't hold the cup. It was just a mess, and I just started crying. I just felt really horrible. And again, like I take the blame. I didn't say to my crew, like, something feels really wrong. We should stop. We should slow down. We should like assess the situation, talk to the medics, talk to other runners, like figure out what's going on. And I really want to sleep here. Like I'm really tired. But again, we didn't do that. You
still didn't sleep at Mingus Mountain?
Still didn't sleep at Mingus Mountain. Because usually, well, a lot of the other long distance things or 200s that I've done, I don't usually sleep for the first like 36 to 40 hours anyway. So I was like, we're still within that window. It's fine. And usually what helps is like keeping moving. To me, is like keeping blood flowing, keeping that energy up, keep moving forward. So I was like, maybe that is the right thing to do. Okay, I'll just leave. Like, I'm still on track for like the time that I wanted to make pretty much. So let's just keep moving.
Yeah. And so you just flew through Mingus?
I didn't fly through Mingus, but I wasn't there very long. I did change clothes there, so I was at least in dry clothes, and ate some, but not a lot, and then just went back out into the rain.
Yeah, it sounds like this section really sucked for a lot of people.
Yeah, going down Mingus was really tough. My pacer Wyatt definitely had all of the hardest sections with me.
You said you'd never do it again because of that section, and now you're doing it again.
I know, but I lied, of course.
Yep.
But it was really hard. It was really tricky. It wasn't raining when we first left, but it was still muddy and slick and just foggy and cold and weird. And then when we got onto the more like forest road, jeep road section, that's when it started raining a ton, and it just poured on us. And then the road turned into like 2 rivers of mud that you were just sloshing through. There wasn't any other way to go around it.
Yeah, it was a mess. From like Fain Ranch to Jerome was just pretty awful.
Yeah.
But you made it to Jerome?
Made it to Jerome. Got one of the infamous cinnamon roll waffle things.
I've never had one.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, they were vegan. Sophie, who was on my crew and pacing me, she ran up and she's like, do you want a vegan cinnamon roll? And I was like, yes, immediately. That sounds delicious. Let's do that. So I think I changed totally there again, still just in shorts, and headed out with Sophie towards Dead Horse. I would have liked to sleep at Jerome or had a longer break, but we didn't have the RV there, so they were like, well, you have to go 8 more miles. I was like, okay, well, that's what I gotta do. That's what I gotta do.
Yeah, now you're 3 aid stations past where you plan to sleep.
Yeah.
So that seems tough.
Yeah, it was definitely tough.
Are you just like getting really tired? Are you moving slow, or are you still able to move well? Because it's always hard because eventually your plan gets thrown out the window, but it just seems like pretty quick the sleep plan got thrown out the window.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knew at this point that I hadn't really slept at Fane Ranch. I can't remember if I told my crew or not. Like, I wasn't keeping it a secret, but I just don't know if I communicated that fully.
So at Fane Ranch, did you just lay there?
Kind of. It was like a bit of a, I don't want to say a waste of time, but it wasn't the most productive 30 minutes that I've had in an ultra.
Yeah.
So I was moving still okay at that point. I feel like when I could jog, we were jogging. We jogged a lot of the road into Jerome. That was really interesting. Some of the aid stations were interesting because I either would have only come into them as a pacer with you or driven into them. So like coming into Jerome, driving, it's so much more direct. And then Wyatt was like, yeah, we just do this road and then we twist around here and we go there. I'm like, that is really far. It's so much faster if you just drive directly through town. I'm like, I know there's a quicker way to get to this aid station than the way we're going.
Yeah, it's only like 90 miles from Black Canyon City to Flagstaff too. You could just drive that.
So I ate some at Jerome, headed off with Sophie, the promise of sleeping, and that section didn't take that long. Going down into Dead Horse was pretty straightforward.
How'd the river go?
River was fine. It's funny because I've been trying to learn or take like what lessons I can from this. And so one is I've been trying to go back through and remember like when did I change clothes? What was I wearing? What was my layering system? And so I know I was still wearing shorts because my pants didn't get wet in the river.
Nice. Yeah.
So
was it daytime when you were there?
No, it was night. It was probably like 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night.
Okay, so it's night too. You're definitely getting tired now.
Yeah. But we made it into Dead Horse, went and got some good food, some rice. I think I had Morningstar Farms veggie sausage, which are so delicious. I ate a lot of those during Bigfoot, so they were like, what do you want? And I said, this, exactly. And finally slept there for like an hour.
Nice. Did it fix everything? The sleep?
Nope.
Dang. Do you think sleeping longer would have helped?
I don't know. It might have, yes. I think one of the big things that I learned is I don't need to be rushed out of aid stations. I'm pretty competitive in my own way and a confident runner. If I am not ready to leave, I should say I'm not ready to leave. I need to do a few more things to get in the right headspace, get right physically or mentally or eat enough. I don't need to be like ferried out. I'm not just going to sit here and chill if I don't need to. Mm-hmm. But I slept an hour and then I started running across Sedona with Chad. That was supposed to be, or was the Mad Max section, but now it's cold, it's dark, it's the middle of the night. And it just was the same thing again, like everything just went really far away. I couldn't get my thoughts focused on anything. I couldn't move fast. I felt just totally out of body. Was seeing rocks I could sleep on, trying to move, trying to have a conversation with Chad. I'm like, I can't, don't have the mental capacity to have a dialogue.
Is there a single scene in Mad Max at night? Even?
Yes! Wyatt reminded me they get stuck in the mud at one point. They get stuck in mud in the middle of the night.
I don't remember that scene.
Yeah. I was like, you're right. That's like the one scene that was relevant.
Yeah.
So we ended up then calling my sports psychologist. He answered at 1 o'clock in the morning. So shout out to Patrick at Resolve Mental Wellness. Because I just felt like my thoughts were really scattered. And I was like, I can't focus on anything. And I'm cold, I'm tired, I'm just like really lost. And I don't know what to do. And he was like, of course, your safety is the top priority. But we just want to keep putting everything through the filters that he and I came up with. Which were like, am I proud of the effort that I'm making? Am I making decisions that are enabling me to go faster and to keep moving forward? If all of that is yes, like we just keep going. Mm-hmm. So we got into Deer Pass, I guess. Yeah. And I ate some there. I slept another 30 minutes there because I was just still so tired. And then left with Brendan to head into Sedona. And the first half of that section was when it really started to get concerning to me. Because Brendan would be like, this is a nice little downhill. Let's jog a little. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, jogging sounds good. Jogging's really smart. I can jog. And then I just like couldn't get my body to make that motion. And I told him, I'm like, I don't think I remember how to jog. Which is so strange. And I've just never had that experience before. I just was like, I'm so tired. I'm so out of it. I don't know what's going on. I don't feel like I know where I am. I don't know how to move quickly. And that was when I finally was like, can you just hold my hand? And so we just walked along that mountain ridge, just holding hands, because I'm like, I'll probably just walk off course. Like, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Wow.
So that was not great. I slept in Brendan's lap as well. He put his legs under my head because he was trying to raise my feet, I think, to like help my blood pressure. So we finally get to that water station and I drank some water and the sun came out. And either one of those things or both, all of a sudden I was like, wow, I feel better. Let's jog. So we ran most of the way into Sedona from that point. And that's where we saw Javelina at noon in the middle of the road and came in there, felt pretty good, ate a decent amount. I was still kind of cold sitting in the sun, but I was still feeling really, really tired. And I kind of wanted to sleep there, but then we were discussing it. And we were like, well, maybe we should take advantage of the daylight and the warmth and this good energy. Maybe what messed you up at Deer Pass is sleeping for 30 minutes there. Like, you came in good spirits. Let's just like turn around and get you out of here. And I was like, okay, I'm willing to try that, because we tried the opposite last time, which was sleeping, and that didn't really help. It was always like 2 miles out of any aid station, I would just fall apart. So Wyatt and I start out to go to the Hangover Trail. And I, again, like a mile or so down, I just was like, man, I am not here. I don't exist. I'm a ghost. I got nothing. I can't do any of this. Wow. It was really just weird and really frustrating.
Have you gotten to the trail part yet? Were you past Sedona through the city on the road?
We had like just turned into that trail part where it's like the town trail, like through a garden kind of section.
Yeah.
And then you get down to that river.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of where we were. And so all of that through town and then going up that road, all of that was just like starting to get frustrating as well, because I am competitive. I wanted to do a good job. I felt like I had done really well on day one and put myself right in the position I wanted to be in. And then it was like I was really tired, which was hard, but I've been tired before. This was just like another level of exhaustion. And then I just couldn't get my brain and my body to like reconnect to move with any kind of purpose or speed. Mm-hmm. So Wyatt let me sleep for 30 minutes on the side of the trail. We were going to do 20, but he told me later he gave me 30 because he came over and my face was in the dirt and I had dirt all over my lips, and he like brushed it off my lips so I wouldn't choke on it, and I didn't move at all or react. And so he was like, I'm giving you 10 more minutes because you're so deep asleep. And then we got up the slick rock, okay, but it was just really hard. That it just started to feel so frustrating of like, I want to be moving better. I want to be doing well. We've tried everything. We've tried food, we've tried sleeping, we've tried water, we've tried salt, and nothing is fixing this problem. So what's going on? And we have all these mantras and we have all the themes. We have all these things, all these tools built in, and like nothing is doing anything. So
are you like so you're frustrated. Are you getting like disappointed and disheartened at this point too?
Yeah. Yeah, because, I felt really fit at the start line and felt like I went in with a good chance to make a good showing in a really competitive field and have people sort of see what I could do and see what I could do myself, which was even more important. Like, I want to see what I'm capable of. This course is pretty runnable. Like, that's exciting. And all of that was just sort of going away. The only thing that was still possible, because all the time goals are like totally jacked. Everything's off the table, but I can still just see what I'm capable of. I can see what I'm capable of when I have nothing left to give, when I can't walk, when I can't think, when I can't even function. Mm-hmm. But I can keep doing that. I can keep moving forward. And I'm pretty sure I looked at Wyatt at one point on the Hangover trail and I said, I don't want to stop. Even though I also really wanted to stop at the same time. But it was definitely frustrating. And it was hard to know that I was leaving this opportunity on the table in a way. So that was hard. I slept again because once you went over that hump and then you were doing the white marked part down, I really needed to sleep again. And it was just so far away. Wyatt was like, we're just going to make it to those trees and then you can sleep. And I was like, I can't make it. I can't make it there. I can't do it. It's so far. And so I was crying, he was crying, we had several heart-to-hearts, and we finally got to a place. I slept again a little, but now it was dark, so it was getting even harder to keep moving. And that's when Wyatt was like, okay, let's sit down on this rock. And I was like, hell yeah, let's take a break. That sounds great. And he looked at me and he said, we are all here for you, and we all think that you can finish. The one thing we have is an abundance of time, but we are starting to get medically concerned, and we might need to call someone, because I had run out of water at that point, to at least bring us water from the aid station. And I said, will that get me disqualified from the race? And he said, I don't know. And I said, okay, well, I'm not getting pulled off this race course because I'm hungry and thirsty. That's fucking dumb. And I stood up, and luckily we were right at that road, and I just started power hiking that. I don't think he intended to scare me straight, but it helped me focus on something, mm-hmm. because I said, I don't want to stop. I don't want to get pulled from this race. I'm still mostly safe, I think. I'm going to keep moving. Come to find out later, Brendan has contacted medical already because he was very concerned for me. He had started to figure out in the crew that I was probably either was or had been hypothermic for several hours. And that makes you really tired. And that is probably what I wasn't able to recover from. Mm-hmm. And that was why nothing was really helping, because apparently the cure for hypothermia is eat a lot, take a hot bath, and then go to sleep for a long time. And I didn't do really any of those things. So he contacted medical, and he has since said to me, I'm so sorry, but I was just really concerned. You're my friend. I don't want you to die out there. I said, it's fine. That's the people that you want on your crew, is people who are looking out for you.
Yeah, and
seeing
a PSA,
the broader
PSA for anyone out there. Medical's not going to come out and immediately pull you. Their job is to get you to the finish line.
Exactly.
So if anyone Brendan or anyone else contacts medical, it's for the best interest of the runner. They're there to help you, not to ruin your race.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I know in the moment it feels oh, if I'm thirsty, they're just going to make me quit. But they don't want anyone to quit.
Yeah. But I didn't understand that at the time, and
totally.
I had no brain power for anything. We get to the water station, we get into Foxborough Ranch, and Brendan said as soon as he saw me coming in, he ran over to medical and was like, don't talk to her, never mind, I don't want her to know that I was worried about her at all. She looks great.
Yeah.
So don't freak her out. But then I was gonna sleep there as well, and we had decided I need to sleep multiple hours. That's the only thing we haven't tried, and that seems to be the recommended whatever. So I this time I was just sleeping in the back of the Jeep, and I turned on my phone. I don't remember why. I think I was going to text you, actually, or something. And I saw that Race Command had texted me and was like, your team has requested a medical evaluation. And I said, well, I'm at the water station. And I said, well, I'm past that. I'm at Foxborough Ranch. I'm eating. I'm drinking. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. I'm happy to talk to anyone. Let me know. And they said, okay, then if you're fine, then you're fine. So it ended up being not a problem anyway. But slept a bunch there.
Like hours?
I think I slept probably at least 2 to 4 hours. I think the plan was like 4 hours, but I woke up in the middle for a bit.
That's awesome. I mean, Aaron Fleischer, who I had on, he sleeps a lot, and he does good. I think the big sleep breaks really help.
They really do. And it's so different from how I've done any of my other races.
So let's think about that too. This would be near the end of another race, but for this one you still have like a full another day. So that's, I think, why you needed more sleep there too.
Definitely. And listening to your interview with Aaron, I totally agree. Like, I could have slept every time I wanted to sleep at least an hour and probably finished faster than I did. Not that much faster, but not any slower for sure.
Probably felt better.
And felt a lot better.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can just make up that time so quickly if you just sleep for an hour versus moving like 1 mile per hour, which is what I was doing at some points. So got up and left Foxborough Ranch on my own. It was nice because I had paced some of that or all of that section with you last year, so I felt like I had a secret advantage because I was like, I know what this section is.
Flat,
runnable. I did run some of it, a decent amount.
It was fine having no pacer.
Yeah, I had my playlist going.
We're in Mad Max still?
No, now we're in Star Wars, but I didn't have Star Wars playing. I had my race playlist, my Mick Bling Strut Pop playlist.
All the episodes of Star Wars, or a certain one?
Just A New Hope and Empire and Return of the Jedi.
When did that segment end? That movie?
Not till Tut Hill.
Okay.
Because we had bought pool noodles, so my pacers and crew had a lightsaber fight when I came into Fort Tut Hill for me with pool noodles.
So did everything feel better once you'd slept?
Everything felt better for a bit. Got into Muns, that felt good. Left there with Sophie. We played the Star Wars music or playlist out loud as we were running through Kelly Canyon area, and that felt a lot better for a while. I probably felt good for about 7 or 8 hours, I would say. And then I just got really cold again. I got really tired again. I kept also having my breathing would get really erratic, like really shallow and out of control. And so my pacers were always like, you gotta get control of your breathing. You gotta slow your breath down. And so I kept doing like this exercise that I know from singing, which is just like you blow all your air out through your lips and make them vibrate because it forces you to have a good constant airflow. And they apparently then were also discussing amongst themselves, like, why is she imitating a horse?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's a singing exercise. It forces your breathing to get back on track. So I had to do a lot of that with Sophie. And yeah, just the same thing, just felt really cold.
There should be a reality show of just what pacers and crew are talking about with their runner. Like, why is she pretending to be a horse right now?
Yeah, they were all like, I don't know what that is. Why is she making such a weird sound?
And mine would be a drama episode of should we tell him that he has COVID?
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many things that the crew and the pacers know and talk about that they just don't tell the runner.
Yeah. But got through that section okay with Sophie. I saw that you had finished. I got to see a video of your finish, which was really fun and motivating for about 5 minutes. And then it stopped being as motivating. Just because, again, I was so tired. I was like constantly negotiating, like, can I lay down on this rock and close my eyes for just 5 minutes? Give me 10 minutes. Like, please. But they were tough. And 200s, like, you can make the best plan you can make, but I feel like they almost always get tossed out the window. And like at our crew meeting, all my pacers would be like, oh, well, I'm doing that section. It's going to be during the day. It'll be great. And I did say to them, like, you guys do realize this is all fake. Like, this is like a dream.
250 is 50 more miles at a slow pace than 200.
So like, it's all going to change. And it completely did. It was like so off. But I had also said, like, don't ever let me dirt nap. That's such a waste of my time. Make me get to an aid station. And of course, every 5 minutes, I'm like, can I lie down? Can I take a nap? I'm really tired. Like, I promise I'm going to move faster if you let me lay on this rock in the warm sun for like 10 minutes. Then I'll move faster. But we got into Tut Hill. We had the lightsaber fight. I slept there again probably like 4 hours. Maybe that's where I slept 4 hours. Some of this you have to also like ask the crew. Like the runner is a really unreliable narrator at some points.
Yeah, so it went from 30 minutes of sleep for the whole thing to now chunks of like full nights of sleep.
Exactly. Yeah. Which again is like, if I had just slept at Dead Horse until the sun came up, which it would have been like 8 hours, I probably could have finished the whole thing at a pretty good pace and had a great time. But you don't know. You don't know these things.
Yeah, I always think like most people have way too ambitious of a sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Of like 30 minutes and then I'll be good. When I think it's like, if you just did 1 3-hour thing, you'd probably be really good. Like, you'd feel super good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
everyone
wants to just push into that point, but at some point you don't care how cool it is that you're tired, you just want to sleep.
Exactly. I sort of feel about this race the way that I do about Moab, because I did Moab 240 before I'd even raced or run a 100-miler. I had done Backbone beforehand, but it did not go very well. I mean, I finished, but it took like 111 hours or something. And I just look back on it as like ultra running boot camp. Like the amount of lessons and things that I learned are huge and have stayed with me. And I feel the same way about this race. I just learned totally different things. Like that year in Moab was really hot. That's like the hot year. Even at night, it was still like high 70s. Obviously, Cocodona, in a totally different way, is like, oh, this is what hypothermia feels like. This is how you should handle it. This is how you should layer up. This is how you can treat it. These are like warning signs. And so that is like worth it in its own way and cool. And yeah, sleeping, definitely a big one, because I feel like I slept too much during Moab. I tell people that all the time. But really, I think I was just a more inexperienced runner and I wasn't willing to push through like a sprained ankle. And so I ended up hiking pretty much the last 100 miles of that race. Whereas now I think I would go, oh yeah, it will loosen up if I like make myself jog a mile, it'll get better. Because this race I was worried like, oh, if I sleep, 4 hours, my whole body's going to lock up and go into recovery mode. And it didn't. It's totally fine. You can just sleep, and it's good. It's good for you.
Yeah, thru hikers do this every day. I don't think there is a recovery mode.
Yeah. So I'm taking that out of my vocabulary. And I've also decided I say never, but I'm not going to do as intense a sleep plan again. I had like a post-race session with my sports psychologist, and he was making a good point about the difference between being reactive and responsive. And he was like, it sounds like everyone was very reactive to what was going on and trying to do our best. We always were trying to do what we thought was best to get me, moving forward and moving well and finishing well. But he said being responsive is like taking in that same information, but then really stepping back and analyzing it and responding to it, not just reacting to it. So I'm going to go for responsive crew and pacers and have a more fluid, at some point I will sleep, but I will know when that will be. And I've never been able to dirt nap before, and I dirt napped like a champ during this race, so it is possible for me to do.
Yeah, so close it out. You're at Fort Tut Hill. Did you make it to the finish?
Yeah, so left Fort Tut Hill, felt pretty good. It felt good enough. I jogged a little bit, but then I started to feel some of my energy going. And because that was also a pacerless section, I just honestly was like, it's smarter for me to just hike this really efficiently than try to jog, because if I go out of my mind again, I mean, another runner will come along eventually, but I ended up not seeing anyone that entire section. So I was like, it's smarter, even though it feels kind of weak and dumb, but I'm just going to hike this really as fast as I can because that feels safer and smarter. So got into Wildcat, ran over with Chad I got into Walnut Canyon, ran with Chad over to Wildcat. We made good time on that section. Felt really tired though coming into there, and I really wanted to sleep again. But Wyatt was like, we're not sleeping. You're just gonna go up and over Eldon. It's gonna be fine. And apparently I made good time for like 2 miles again, and then I fell apart, and I was like, I have to sleep for 5 minutes. Like, there's no other way that I can move, because everything was just like, I was really just stumbling around. Like, I was dizzy. I would get close to collapsing. I would be fighting with myself because one part of my brain would be like, you're going to collapse. And I would be like, no, I'm not going to collapse. Like, I'm way stronger than that. I'm not going to collapse. And then it'd be like, oh, but your knee's buckling, so maybe you are. And I'd be like, get it together. We're not going down. And then I'd be like, I have to go down. I've got to sleep. So I slept again, like 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. And then we got to hike up Eldon in the sunrise, which was really beautiful. I always knew the descent was going to be really hard and slow, even if I'd been in amazing shape and felt really good the whole race. I was like, that descent's probably going to take me 2 hours. I don't know how long it took me, but I always in my mind budgeted 2 hours for that descent because it's my least favorite type of terrain and type of running. So I was like, this is going to be rough. But we got down. I have heard many people say on your podcast and other places, I thought that the Trinity Heights aid station was at the bottom of Eldon, but it's not.
No, you have to run all the way around Eldon.
Yeah. And so that was really hard because I was out of water again. I was in fleece lined tights. The sun was up. It was warm. It was hot more than it was warm. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? But we got there and then got some Coke, some water, got some Vaseline for some chafing. And then we pretty much ran almost all the way into the finish.
Wow.
We hiked some of the hills, but like once we hit Buffalo Park, we were jogging the whole way in. And it went it felt like the fastest 4 miles of the race, which is nice.
Yeah, because it's only 3.9.
There you go. That's why it felt so fast.
Yeah, it's mostly downhill. There's just that one little 100-foot climb or something.
Yeah. So that was good. And there were lots of people out cheering. Wyatt was crying. I thought I would be crying, but I was just like, hallelujah. Like, I was more ecstatic, like, thank God. We did it.
Yeah, and then you made it in, and then it's all over.
Made it in, all over. The end.
Yeah. Was there a reason you went to the medical tent right at the end? Or was it just a place to go?
I think...
Oh, yeah, I can't remember.
I just got sat in a chair outside of it. I didn't get checked by medical.
Yeah.
I was just lying on the cot in there. But I don't remember why. Do you remember why?
No.
Okay.
I think they just had nobody in a cot.
Yeah.
When did you decide you wanted to do it again?
Probably like the next day. Or maybe later that night. Because I felt about it the same way I felt about doing Backbone the first time. I was like, that was really hard. And at certain points, I wasn't sure I could finish. And said, I never want to do this again. I never want to be out here again. And then when you're done, it's like, okay, well, now I know so much more. I'd love to go back and see what I can do with all that knowledge.
Yeah. What would you change going into it this next time beyond reactive and responsive mindset?
That's a big one. Sleep plan, but maybe sleeping more, like a more fluid sleep plan for sure. I think I would wear more clothes, but it's probably going to be hot again, but it does get cold at night. And I always think, I tend to run really hot and running keeps me warm. But I need to remember that when you're pushing your body so hard and you're going through so much, you don't want to also ask it to keep you warm. Like, it's nice to layer it and help it. And I was saying to my coach, I'm like, I could always stop and take off layers, but what am I doing leaving aid stations not wearing like pants and a jacket? Okay, so what if a mile down the road I get hot, I take them off and I put them in my pack, and then I put them back on? Like, that's something else that I want to be more responsible around, or experiment more. I don't know. Just like wear more clothes. Because I've had that in other events or races where I'm like, oh, I should have put on a jacket like 10 miles ago. Now I'm freezing. And
yeah, well, it's hard to want to grab something from your pack.
Yeah, exactly.
So
just like put it on at the aid station. And I don't know.
And so I'm curious, what are all the sections in the movies that went with them? Because we kind of bounced around. Just list them out.
Sure. So mile 1 to mile 7 was Galaxy Quest. 7 to Whiskey Row, which is 70, 80, I don't know, was Dune. Whiskey Row to Jerome or Dead Horse, I can't remember, was Game of Thrones. Dead Horse through Foxborough Ranch was Mad Max. Foxborough Ranch to Wildcat was Star Wars. And then Wildcat to the end was Doctor Who, I'm pretty sure.
Nice. Doctor Who, how did that play in?
Chad asked me who my favorite doctor was while we were running together. That's all that we did. Like, I think it's a really fun idea and I want to try to do it again, but there was so much more that we had to deal with that a lot of the theme stuff, like all the playlists and everything, got a little bit
was Doctor Who the finish?
Oh, because I just wanted it to be really fun and celebratory.
Like how he saves the world every episode. Really a pretentious show. He saved the world like 600 times. He has a magic screwdriver that just lights up.
Yeah.
And doesn't work on wood.
Yeah. You've learned so much.
Yeah. TV can be fake.
I wanted it to be celebratory. They say a lot in that show. The doctor's always saying to Rose, like, or any of the companions, like, run! And I really thought I would be more in a mood to have that almost be a joke with my pacer, like, yeah, we've got to run, like, let's go. Mm-hmm. And that is not what happened. I did a lot of hiking with holding hands. Wyatt held my hand a lot too, because I was just gonna like float off to another planet, it felt like, which is sort of Doctor Who. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so then there's a full write-up of your race on your Substack, right?
Yes,
What's
correct.
your Substack?
AllisonHardingPowell.substack.com.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure.
All right, what else do you want the people to know?
I am running it next year. I'm doing a charity bib for Runners for Public Lands. I love that organization. I donate to them every month. So join me in donating to them through my charity bib fundraiser
it's
page.
Cocodona, so it should be Hikers for Public Lands.
Sure, can be. It can be anything. Anything for public lands. We gotta save our public lands.
Yeah, it would be weird if it's hot. Then you'll have a cold year and a hot year. It'll be a different course.
It's probably gonna be like 110 degrees. It's gonna be so wildly different. And that's really exciting too.
Yeah, you like
for
the
going
heat?
back. I don't like the heat, but I felt very well prepared for the heat, not for the cold. But I see why you like doing it every year. Like, the volunteers are so great. All the communities coming out now. Like, the man sitting in his yard, or there was a woman in Flagstaff who met me on the corner with her husband leaving Fort Tut Hill and was just like, we live a couple blocks up the road. We just want to come down and cheer on runners. And I started crying because I'm a crier and I felt horrible. And she just gave me a hug, like this random person I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And so that's really cool. I saw her husband the next day. She was running the Flagstaff crest and he saw me at the finish line. He's like, we met you randomly yesterday and my wife gave you a hug. And I was like, amazing, you guys are the best. So I don't know what all the plans will entail perfectly, but I'm really excited to go back. It's a super fun event. It's like such a puzzle.
Yeah, but it's like really, other than actually the 2 new sections, none of the course is that hard. It's just the fact that it's 250 miles.
Exactly.
It's pretty attainable for lots of people. I haven't looked up the oldest person who'd done it, but I would imagine upper 60s. It's pretty cool that it's that accessible.
It's really cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. People should come out and volunteer. My mom was watching the live stream and said she wants to be at one of the places where she can cook food. So.
Yeah, man. Trinity Meth Lab, maybe.
Yeah, my mom would fit right in there.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for listening. Please shop at johng.com. Get a Sunchaser hoodie. They're perfect for the summer, and I wear them pretty much exclusively. I'm not wearing one right now, but the sun is not out in here. Allison wore one for Cocodona, so check it out. Garage Grown Gear. And then also we have csinstant.coffee. That is CS coffee for you. Looking it up on the internet. It's premium freeze-dried coffee. It's really good. It actually has like a texture or froth, so it's not quite like a latte that you're getting freeze-dried, but it's better than like Folgers coffee. So hopefully Folgers wasn't listening and hoping to sponsor the next round. But no, been drinking and known CS coffee since 2020 actually. So yeah, check them out. You can try them out and let me know what you think, and tell all those people I sent you. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/freeoutside. All right, that's all I got for this week. Stay elite, my friends.